people tell me their chickens sleep out under a tree somewhere or in the nest box. I think this should be discouraged. Why and how? First of all, what's wrong with sleeping on the floor or sleeping in the nest box? In other countries, chickens are at risk from predators if they're on the ground at night. They're safer on their perch. In New Zealand, we don't have foxes or snakes or other predators, and except for a stray dog or an occasional stoat, the chickens are pretty safe even on the ground. But down on the ground or the coop floor, they are more exposed to their own droppings, which is not only less pleasant, it also exposes them to disease-causing bacteria or parasitic insects. And it's usually warmer and less drafty up at perch level than on the floor or outside. So it's better for the chickens if they sleep inside on their perch. And it's better for you. If you want to pick them up, give them some medicine perhaps, or just get them used to being handled. It's much easier if you can pick them up from their perch at night. So having the chickens sleep on their perch at night is a good thing. But how do you get them to do that? You need to give them a suitable perch. Check out my earlier video about the kind of factors to take into consideration when you're designing a perch for your chickens. Some people give their chickens perches of various heights. I don't like to do this because I find that they all squabble for the top perch anyway, so I might just as well give them one perch or more than one perch but at the same height. They will still squabble. In the wild, the most desirable space on a perch is in the middle. The chickens on the end of a perch are more exposed to predators than those who are in the middle of the flock. Chickens have a natural tendency to perch, and I think it's a good idea to start young. I provide a low perch for my baby chicks in their brooder box. As they grow up, I give them bigger and higher perches, and they adapt very quickly. Make sure that each perch is stable, not wobbly, or they won't find it secure or appealing. It does seem to me that the light breeds, like the Leghorns, take to the idea of roosting on a perch more readily, while the heavier breeds, like Orpingtons, are more inclined to be lazy. If you have lazy chooks, then you need to be firm but encouraging until they get the idea. In the evening, when you find them settling down to sleep somewhere inappropriate, pick them up and sit them on the perch. Make sure they are stable and comfortable before you leave them. You don't want them falling off and learning that perching is a painful and uncomfortable experience. Once you get them up there and it's dark, they will probably stay there all night. I find that a youngster may be more stable and comfortable through the night if you put them on the end of the perch instead of right in the middle. That way they can lean against the wall for a bit more support. And think about who you're putting them next to. You want them to be comfortable all through the night, not spend a miserable night getting pecked by a more dominant chook next to them all through the night. I think that things can work out better if I turn them round so that each chicken is facing the opposite direction. A few pecks on the back aren't quite so uncomfortable as being pecked on the head. You might have to keep putting them up on the perch every night for a week or two, but eventually they grow up and start to assert themselves, and one evening you'll find they've hopped up all on their own. When introducing young pullets to older hens and trying to get them to mix and perch together at night, sometimes you might find that the pullets are even reluctant to go inside the hen house with the big hens. Sometimes I provide a separate shelter for them and let them make up their own minds when it's time to integrate. More often I decide it's time and I move them into the main hen house each night until they get the idea. It doesn't take long. One common problem is that chickens can decide to sleep in the nest box. This can come about because they lay late in the day and it's getting on for dark by the time that they are ready to leave the nest box. Or it may be that they're feeling broody and spending more time in the nest box than usual. Whatever the reason, it's a bad idea. Don't let them sleep in the nest box. Why is that? When chickens sleep, they poop. If they're sleeping on the perch, all of the poop just falls neatly onto the floor under the perch. But if they're sleeping in the nest box, all that poop is going to end up in the nest box, all over the chicken, and all over your nice clean eggs when they next get laid. So always keep them out of the nest box at night. If you find a chicken is starting to sleep in the nest box because she's broody, then move her somewhere else or discourage her broodiness. If you don't want a broody hen, check out my video on how to break broodiness. If you do want a broody hen to raise chickens, then move her somewhere where she and her new chicks will be safe and secure and away from the main flock. If they are sleeping in the nest box, then try blocking off the nest boxes at night. Just put something in the boxes or something in front of the nest boxes after they've finished laying for the day, and make sure that none of the chickens can sleep in them at night. Of course, you have to unblock them before the chickens need to lay in the morning. I find it's actually easier to unblock them at night after all the chickens have gone to bed, rather than race out at the crack of dawn the next morning. It's just easier to make one extra trip at night than it is to get up quite so early in the morning. Once in a while, a hen who used to sleep on the perch okay will suddenly decide that she doesn't want to sleep there anymore. If this is not because she's broody, then check out what the problem might be. Perhaps it's not the hen's fault at all. You might find that perhaps the hen house is getting rather hot in the hot weather and you need to provide a bit more ventilation. Or perhaps there are mites growing around in the hen house and they're coming onto the perch at night and nibbling on the feet and legs of the chickens and making them very uncomfortable perching on their perch. Maybe you haven't cleaned out the hen house in a while and the droppings are building up to the stage where the whole place smells of ammonia and it's quite an uncomfortable place to be. I had one young pullet who started roosting high up in a tree when her two companions were sold from my flock, and the rooster started running after her relentlessly. It seemed like she decided the only place she could get any peace was up on a high branch of a tree above the chicken coop. Once that annoying rooster was sold, she soon decided that it was more comfortable to come down and sleep with the others on the perch at night. So, first make sure that your perch is a nice place to spend the night, and then encourage your chickens to use it, gently but as persistently as necessary until they get the idea. Your chickens will be happier and healthier for that, and it will be more convenient for you too.